Cristina Puig joins us now from Carnival's headquarters near Miami. Cristina, Carnival going into damage control now, offering refunds and even incentives to try to get people to come back. What kind of reaction are they getting?
Absolutely, Frederica. What I can tell you is that they have been very responsive to our inquiries, and they're taking to social media to get their message out. For example, they've posted statements on Facebook about what's happened with the legend, what's happened with the dream, and what they're doing to try to rectify the situation. And as you mentioned, they're also offering discounts, 50% discounts on a future cruise, because obviously they want to bring these people back. Frederica and Michael?
So, Cristina, how is Carnival then dealing with these problems and the potential damage to its reputation? As you touched on there, they're being very open, and that's pretty much what I think most damage control PR companies say to do. Get out there, be open.
Absolutely, Michael. Ironically, it was Tuesday when Carnival's CEO, Jerry Cahill, informed us that they were conducting a comprehensive review of their entire fleet. And when we asked them more specifically what exactly was being done, they said the following in a statement: immediately after Carnival Triumph arrived safely in Mobile, we assembled an expert team from across the company, as well as outside experts in the areas of fire, marine, technical, and electrical systems to complete a fleet-wide assessment in the areas of fire prevention, detection, and suppression, engine and power redundancies, and emergency power generation and services. So they are absolutely trying their best to recover from this fiasco, to say the least.
Right,
Frederica, Michael.
Cristina Puig, thanks so much. Appreciate that.
Cristina Puig is live for us in Miami Beach. Cristina, good morning.
Good morning, Soledad. I'm standing outside St. Joseph's Parish here in North Miami Beach, where they're going to be celebrating Mass in about 30 minutes to celebrate the new Pope, Mario Jorge Bergoglio. They are ecstatic that a Latin American Pope is one of their own. Here are some of the headlines here. The Miami Herald is New World Pope. And then we have in Spanish, Recen por mí, which means please pray for me. So down here in South Florida, the Catholics are very, very ecstatic. They're joyous. As you know, there are 1.2 billion Catholics in the world. 41% of them are from Latin America. And here in Miami-Dade County, at least 50% of residents are also from Latin America. So it's a very diverse community. Last night, many Catholics went straight from work to Mass to celebrate and to pray for the new Pope, Pope Francis. They're hoping that he will bring about change. They say that the word Catholic in Latin means universal. So even though he does come from Argentina, they say that he is the Pope for all the world.
I'm overjoyed because he's a Pope for the whole world. And he's clearly a man of great vision. He comes from our part of the world, but he's now a father for all of us.
And also, the largest concentration of Argentines are here in South Florida, believe it or not, in a little community known as Little Argentina in North Miami Beach. And they are ecstatic, needless to say. Back to you, Soledad.
I was going to say, Cristina, yes, I bet they are today. Cristina Puig for us. She's in Miami Beach. Thanks for the update.
Cristina Puig live in Miami with the developments there. Cristina, good morning.
Good morning, Brooke. That's right. Delta chartered flights are scheduled to begin flying out of St. Martin with 4,300 of those passengers on an hourly basis. One of the first flights scheduled to land in Orlando around 10 a.m. And as you might imagine, many of those passengers are just anxious to get home. For some passengers, it was a cruise that didn't live up to their dreams. And to some of us, their complaints sounded a note of déjà vu. Clogged toilets, interruptions to elevator service, power outages. It was the same cruise line, Carnival, but a different ship than the one that left passengers at sea for several days with no air conditioning and unsanitary living conditions. But the problems on the cruise liner Dream were nowhere near as nightmarish as those aboard the Triumph just a month ago.
Our toilets weren't working, and when I pressed it, the water rose up like you would at home. If your toilet was clogged, the water would start to rise up to the top of the bowl.
Carnival says the Dream, with 4,300 passengers, got stuck in port at the Caribbean resort island of St. Martin when the backup emergency generator malfunctioned during a routine inspection. The company issued a statement saying at no time did the ship lose power, and the ship's propulsion systems and primary power source was not impacted. The statement also said all guests are safe and comfortable with only periodic interruptions to elevators and restroom services for a few hours.
They thought it was something minor, ended up being something more complicated, which is why we're still here. As far as the power outages go, I mean, I didn't notice it personally.
The latest aborted voyage comes on the heels of the debacle involving Carnival's Triumph cruise liner that spent 5 days adrift at sea, attracting worldwide attention as passengers posted picture after picture of the unsanitary and altogether unpleasant conditions on the ship.
This is a management problem. They're doing something wrong with preventive maintenance. Carnival has so many working ships that to say that the fleet is in distress is maybe a little bit broad, but clearly something is not working right.
Ironically, just 1 day before Dream's problems, Carnival had announced it was conducting a comprehensive review of its entire fleet. The cruise line was quick to offer its Dream guests a refund for the 3 days the cruise was cut short and 50% off a future cruise. Now, this makes 4 ships altogether that have had problems in the last month. As we mentioned, the Legend and the Dream on Wednesday, and on Saturday, the Elation apparently had some steering problems. And of course, we all remember the Triumph, watching it be towed back into Mobile, Alabama, after those passengers were stranded at sea for 5 days. Now, Carnival's CEO, Jerry Cahill, said yesterday that they do have comprehensive programs in place to inspect all of their fleet, which consists of 23 ships. Brooke?
Cristina Puig in Miami. Cristina, thank you. As you point out, at least they're stuck in St. Martin.
Victor, Amanda Martin-Cabbage is very pregnant, 9 months pregnant. And yesterday afternoon, she stopped by at this Publix to pick up some groceries because she wanted to cook a dinner for herself and her husband. And she said the last thing she expected was that she would be pushed around by a pickup truck.
I was more shocked, I guess you could say, that someone was actually trying to run me over with their vehicle so that they could get away over a $25 bottle of wine.
The expectant mother was in a Publix parking lot in Boynton Beach Tuesday afternoon when she witnessed an argument between a store manager and someone who police say was trying to shoplift a bottle of wine.
Are you crazy? Are you really going to try and run over a pregnant woman? Stop, stop.
In 1960, the exodus of some 14,000 Cuban children was planned by the Catholic Church of Miami and the U.S. government with the consent of their parents. 5 decades later, aboard 3 buses, some of them sang camp songs as they were transported to tour the refugee camps that once housed them. At age 16, Juan Pujol knew then that he had to grow up quickly at Camp Metacumbe.
And I said to myself, you know what? This is going to be tough. You're going to be on your own. So put your act together and move on.
Florida City was the largest of Operation Pedro Pan's shelters. Approximately 3,000 teenage boys and girls were housed here between 1961 and 1965. Many of them were eventually relocated to foster homes throughout the United States.
¿Qué tal? Les saluda Cristina Puig. Cancela la Guardia Costera la búsqueda de 11 trabajadores desaparecidos tras la explosión y posterior incendio en una plataforma petrolera frente a la costa luisiana. Y cientos de personas salen a las calles de Taiwán junto a sus mascotas para protestar contra la crueldad animal. Más esta tarde. ¿Qué tal? Les saluda Cristina Puig. Después que varias tormentas congelaron el norte de la nación, ahora le toca al sur. Desde Texas hasta Luisiana se enfrentan a fuertes nevadas. Las bajas temperaturas se extenderían después a Florida, Alabama y Georgia.
It was upon us within seconds. Oh my God. I don't know. My photographer Kevin Sinicki and I were in the midst of an interview when the sky suddenly turned black. Gusty winds pushed us around and cloud formations quickly hovered above us. Off in the distance, we heard sirens. I hear tornado warnings. We ran across the street to seek refuge in a rec center along with a parent who was trying to pick up her daughter from a nearby elementary school.
We were all standing outside. My husband, the landlord, my kids, my 3-year-old twins, we were all outside. 1 minute, the tree was there. The next minute, it was down.
Needless to say, Parks and Rec crews have had a very busy afternoon. They're amazed that this 50-foot tree, which had withstood many hurricanes, was toppled by that storm. And as for the Bell family, well, they had just recently been talking to their landlord about removing the tree from their yard, and they say now that Mother Nature has taken care of it, that's no longer a worry. Live in West Palm Beach, Cristina Puig, WPBF 25 News.
Legendary coach Don Shula led the Dolphin players, and Howard Schnellenberger led the players of my alma mater, the University of Miami. It was a day that evoked many, many memories for many people, including myself. Saying goodbye to the Orange Bowl is making even grown men cry.
Oh, we love you, OB. Oh.
About 10,000 fans cheered on their favorite former Dolphin and Hurricane players. The flag football game was part of the Orange Bowl's final farewell.
It's actually kind of bittersweet because when you have this kind of crowd here with these special group of players, both Dolphins and Canes alike, it's a festive environment, which is a little bit unusual given that this is the last game being played here.
This is home. I can't even imagine driving on 836 and looking over and seeing it not here. I can't even picture that.
The 70-year-old landmark was the former home of the Dolphins before Dolphin Stadium was built.
Old tradition, you're close to the field. It was never the same at Dolphin Stadium.
It's also been the home of the Miami Hurricanes and 5 national championships. Yours truly was a UM cheerleader when Miami won their first national championship in the Orange Bowl when Bernie Kosar was quarterback in 1983.
One of the things that kind of, I think, epitomizes the stadium and stuff here, it was so, if you remember that night, I've got a chance to play in some Super Bowls, Pro Bowls, AFC, NFC championship games, and that night, the noise and electricity was like second to none here.
Fans and players alike each have their reasons for wanting to hold on to the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, look, I got my whole life to get my name up on the Ring of Honor, and now we're knocking it down.
The fans and the crowd and the tailgating and being with friends and family.
In fact, some diehard fans made sure they went home with more than just memories.